episode of the Sunday Morning Chat Series is brought to you by Classy Communications PR and Advertising. Classy Communications provides public relations and marketing solutions for businesses, professionals, and nonprofit organizations. They can deliver the true meaning of your business with press releases, social media marketing, web development, email marketing, book publishing, and much more. Wherever your potential clients are, they can help you connect with them. Visit classycommunications.net to learn more about their suite of services that can help your business stand out from the rest. Classy Communications is your solution for business success.
Welcome to Vegas Hockey Hub here on PRConnectionsRadio.com, the voice of new media. I'm your host, Ian Rachiele. And on this edition of Vegas Hockey Hub on a nice Monday afternoon, we are going to be discussing the most recent news that happened involving your Vegas Golden Knights, as Shea Theodore has been given a 7-year, near $52 million deal contract extension with the Vegas Golden Knights. And with this being a big deal and something that the Vegas Golden Knights are definitely excited that they did, I wanted to take a minute and record this audio version of this show and just really talk about what this extension means for Vegas, how much this is going to be long-term for the Golden Knights organization, what is the long-term goal when the Vegas Golden Knights have this contract go all the way. Like I said, 7-year extension with Shea Theodore. And more importantly, who else outside of Shea Theodore itself benefits from this contract extension? So we have a lot to go over on this episode, and I just really want to talk about the Shea Theodore extension on this episode of Vegas Hockey Hub. Now, last Thursday, as a reference point, we had gotten finished. We had recorded, the LA Kings recap. We had been, looking forward to the upcoming game they had against the Ottawa Senators. And, about 9 games into the season, it's a very young season for the Vegas Golden Knights. But Shea Theodore on last Thursday, we got the update. We had all the notifications. Everybody ran the social media immediately. And the news was that a pending free agent had signed with the Vegas Golden Knights. And when we got the notification that it was indeed Shea Theodore, now I'm going to read this from puckpedia.com as my reference here. Shea Theodore, 7-year, $51.975 million contract on this past Thursday. Now, this contract, which will have an AAV of $7.425 million, will begin in the 2025-2026 season with your Vegas Golden Knights. Now, that is the good news, okay? The good news is that it is going to start next season. He is going to finish the remainder of this contract that he signed previously to end the 24-25 season. Now, for somebody who doesn't know what that contract that he is currently on right now, and this is also from Puckpedia as my reference point. Now, the previous contract that he signed was back in 2018, and that was a 7-year deal worth $36 million. He made $5.2 million every year during that 7-year tenure. So he essentially got a massive raise with the Vegas Golden Knights organization. The first big contract he had with Vegas was 7 years, $36 million, so a $5.2 million cap hit. And now this upcoming contract is 7 years, $51 million, with a cap hit of 7.4. So it's actually really good for Vegas that he gets a $2.2 million raise. He gets the same amount of years as he did the previous time. And what's good about this, Shea Theodore will not be a free agent until he is 36 years old. So the guy in Shea Theodore who joined the Golden Knights organization when he was around 22 years old, Sorry about that. We had some technical difficulties there. Now, when it comes to Shea Theodore and this extension, like I said, 22 years old is when he joined the Golden Knights organization during the 2017 NHL expansion draft. They got him from Anaheim. Now, at 29 years old, and at the end of that 7-year deal, he gets this 7-year extension, and that will get him to 36 years old with the Vegas Golden Knights. So, what is the one positive that I have with this? Okay. When it comes to Shea Theodore, a positive that will be a good takeaway is that on this contract, he has a no trade clause in this deal. Now, this is a bit different than a non-movement clause or an NMC. This is an NTC, but with it being a no trade clause and the fact that it is a 15-team no trade clause towards the back end of this contract and then a fully no trade clause for the first couple of years of it, it means that Shea Theodore at least is going to be in Vegas until he is around 32, 33 years old. And at the max, he is going to be 36 years old when he completes the full 7 years of this deal. Now, something else that I also want to point out as a positive in this deal is the fact that Shea Theodore, what he has done already this season. Now, it's only 9 games in, and I'm using Hockey Reference as my reference point for this. But in the first 9 games of the season that we have had in 24-25, Shea Theodore has been very productive for the Vegas Golden Knights. Now, what he has done is that he had a 3-point night to open the season against the Colorado Avalanche, and then he added 2 more points against the St. Louis Blues. So just in the first 2 games of the season, Shea Theodore had a goal and 4 assists on the season. And then he followed that up with a 2-assist performance against the Tampa Bay Lightning. And then the very most recent game we had against San Jose, he had an assist on that night. So when you look at Shea Theodore's situation, 1 goal, 7 assists for 8 points. He is essentially averaging exactly a point per game on the young season for the Vegas Golden Knights. I understood with the LA Kings, he suffered an illness, and that was the Caden Korzak game where he was in relief of Shea Theodore. But 8 out of 9 games so far, Shea Theodore has played, so 8 points in 8 games. So far this season, a -4 plus minus. Look, he has not been the greatest when it comes to plus minus. That's something that we have touched on this show before, but I'm going to choose to overlook that. 4 penalty minutes already on the season, but overall, penalty minutes wise, he is not the worst when it comes to being in the penalty box. Also, looking at everything that we see here, 9 blocks on the year, 12 giveaways, 2 takeaways, and he has about 15 shots on goal for Shea Theodore already this year. And yes, I know that tonight, the Calgary Flames, they're going to be at T-Mobile Arena. I will be at T-Mobile Arena to watch the game later tonight against the Calgary Flames. Try to see how that goes. But when it comes to Shea Theodore, the one major concern that some people have stated. Now, I have been known to criticize Shea Theodore throughout his career. I think that defensively, he is not one of the strongest members defensively when it comes to the Golden Knights. I've talked about that before. But this criticism is something that I don't point out. And it's the games that he has missed over the past 3 seasons. Now, excluding the shortened COVID season where they only had 56 games, he made 53 out of 56 games that year. Shea Theodore played in 55 of 82 games when they won the Stanley Cup that year. The next season, which was the most recent year, he played in 47 out of 82 games. So overall, when it comes to Shea Theodore, the sad reality is there's some people who are going to hold that against him. And that's the fact that, 55 games 2 years ago, 47 games this past season. So analyzing that and really putting that into perspective, 102, I mean, that's just a situation that you kind of look at and go, really interesting, that situation there. Because there's 164 games that got played, so that is just roughly about 60% of the games he has played in the last 2 years. Now, I've seen worse. There's been some players who have missed halves of both seasons the past 2 years, and they're still getting paid a lot of money. Shea Theodore, 42 points last year in 47 games, just a little under a point per game. He also had 41 points 2 years ago when they won the Cup that year. His career high was the year they missed the playoffs, and that was a 14-goal season with 52 points tallied up at the end. So Shea Theodore has some positives, he has some negatives, but for the most part, Shea Theodore last year received votes for the Lady Byng. He has received Norris Trophy votes not once but twice in his career. Hockey Reference as my reference on that one. And then playoff wise, I mean, Shea Theodore had 13 points in that Cup run for the Vegas Golden Knights. This is also someone who has had double-digit points in the playoffs 4 times while being a member of the Vegas Golden Knights. So, playoff performer, he has shown up in big moments. And for a 29-year-old, something he's accomplished already, and I actually was really shocked when I found this out, Shea Theodore is the Vegas Golden Knights franchise leader in goals. You know what else he's a franchise leader in? He's franchise leader in assists. You want to know what else he is franchise leader with? In points. Power play goals by a defenseman, Shea Theodore. Power play points by a defenseman, Shea Theodore. Like, Shea Theodore has so many accolades as a franchise leader here in Vegas. And as somebody who is one of the biggest fans of Braden McNabb, it was actually astounding how many records were held by number 27 and not by number 3. So, you have Shea Theodore, a guy who's played over 400 games as a member of the Vegas Golden Knights. Someone who has been with the organization since year 1. A misfit with Shea Theodore. And I want to see how he is going to perform in this next 7 years. Because the one aspect that some people have pointed out is that once he signs this deal, okay, and once Shea Theodore ends up getting this contract where he's going to have a cap hit of $7.4 million, is it going to be a positive long-term or is it going to be a negative long-term? Essentially, they're asking when it comes to money, is he going to back up what he is doing for that $7 million cap hit? Or as he gets older, is it going to become an anchor for the Vegas Golden Knights? The way I would answer this, is he going to be Alex Pietrangelo? Or is he going to be a guy like Alec Martinez? Alex Pietrangelo has been a leader in the locker room. Alex Pietrangelo played his 1,000th game here as a member of the Vegas Golden Knights. multi-time Stanley Cup champion. Alex Pietrangelo, despite his age, is still a top pairing defenseman here in Vegas. He has really not regressed as much as he has gotten older. Or is he going to be Alec Martinez, who, unfortunately, I hate to say this, by the way, me being a Chicago Blackhawks fan, he's going to be in Chicago now for this upcoming year. Alec Martinez, in his most previous year that he was in Vegas, age really caught up to him. He suffered injuries beginning of the season. He missed time. And even when he was on the ice, he looked sluggish at times. So, hopefully he ends up being Alex Pietrangelo. And we are going to hope, for Vegas Golden Knights perspective, that he doesn't end up becoming Alec Martinez when he's age 35, age 36, the last 2 years of his contract. But you also have to remember, the NHL salary caps are going to go up during this time. So who knows if $7 million cap hit is going to be as huge of a chunk as it is now. Because his current cap is around 8% of the Vegas Golden Knights cap. I think roughly around, it's like 8.5, if I saw the pie correctly. Now, we got about 10 minutes left here in the show. And studying the Golden Knights, analyzing their current situation. Alex Pietrangelo will have 2 years left over this upcoming year. Shea Theodore signed that contract. He'll be here until 2032 when he is 36 years old. You want to know who else is going to be here until he is 35 years old in 2032? I'm going to talk about the contract that got signed back in April, and that's Noah Hanifin. Noah Hanifin is going to be here for a considerable amount of time, and he is only 27 years old. And I'm not going to say that I'm Kelly McCrimmon, not going to say I'm George McPhee, but doesn't it sound like they're priming Shea Theodore and Noah Hanifin to be your future top line? If both of them are signed until 2032 and Noah Hanifin is 1 year younger than Shea Theodore, doesn't it make sense that those two will be your anchors of your defensive pairing, your staple, your core of the defensive pairing for Vegas for the long-term future? Noah Hanifin, Shea Theodore. Because you also have to consider something, okay? Brayden McNabb is a free agent at the end of the year, okay? There is no guarantee that Shea Theodore and Brayden McNabb are going to stay as pairing mates by next year. Once again, as a fan of Brayden McNabb and as somebody who would say that he is my favorite player on the Golden Knights roster, I hope he does get extended. He's great for the locker room. Amazing player defensively. But we have no guarantee because he is a free agent next year. The rest of the defense for Vegas. Zach Whitecloud. Zach Whitecloud this year is halfway through his deal that he signed in 2021. I mean, he's going to be a free agent in 2028, so it's a few years away. Zach Whitecloud's going to be here. Nicholas Hague is an RFA next year. Now, normally with an RFA, that means a contract is going to be signed at some point, but Nicholas Hague is an RFA. Ben Hutton signed a multi-year deal with the Vegas Golden Knights last year, so he should be here for one more year. As an RFA, I know that Caden Korzak is going to be an RFA as well. So Korzak is going to be an RFA in 2026. So not this year, but the next year after, he will be in the same situation Nicholas Hague is in after this year. So defensively, I mean, the first pairing this year has been Pietrangelo and Hanifin. And I mentioned that Pietrangelo is around 34 years old. So he will be a free agent around his age 36, age 37 season. Hanifin is 27. Shea Theodore is 29. So your second pairing of McNabb and Theodore could be split up next year. Alex Pietrangelo could dip in a defensive pairing and be a second defensive pairing if you need him to do that. But the biggest takeaway of Shea Theodore having the same length that Noah Hanifin signed back in April is a clear indication that your Vegas Golden Knights are planning on having your two main defensemen, your 1A, 1B, will be Noah Hanifin, Shea Theodore. Your second defensive pairing could be Alex Pietrangelo and Zach Whitecloud. And then your third defensive pairing, I would not be surprised if it ends up becoming in the future, something like a Nicholas Hague and Caden Korzak type of combo. Would not surprise me at all if those two guys who are, 23, 24 years old, around that range, your two younger defensemen would be on that same line. Because what else do you have defensively for the Vegas Golden Knights? You have your number one prospect, Lucas Cormier. I mean, they're going to call him up at some point. I mean, it just makes sense that they would have to call him up. Defensively, who else do you have when it comes to the Vegas Golden Knights organization? I mean, defensively, maybe rely on Ben Hutton as your seventh defenseman. Now, granted, he's been the seventh defenseman really since 2022 when they brought him in. It's going to be very interesting what Vegas does. Because in the AHL, outside of Lucas Cormier, I really can't picture anybody else currently. And they really didn't draft any defensemen in the 2024 NHL draft that they could use in 2025. All the junior guys are essentially down there in juniors itself. So the Henderson Silver Knights may not be the way to go outside of Cormier. So overall, the Vegas Golden Knights giving Shea Theodore this 7-year contract, having him until he is 36 years old. I like what McCrimmon's done here. Really like what McPhee and McCrimmon have come up with in Vegas. Now, is it possible that he doesn't finish his 7-year run and he gets traded by year 5, 6, or 7? I'm not a fortune teller. I don't have a crystal ball. We don't know. Anything's possible. That's why I'm not going to say never. Anything's possible. But would predict a good 70-75% chance that Shea Theodore, just like his first 7-year contract that he had in Vegas back in 2018, he will finish his 7-year contract from 2024 to 2032. And we'll be curious to see how he does, the end of this year. If he finds a way to play in 70 or more games this season, then it's really going to shut up the people who have been calling out his injury concerns. Because outside of the 2019 season, where I believe he played every single game, with the Vegas Golden Knights, and someone could fact check me, I don't recall him ever playing 80 games or more in Vegas. He has missed games, at least a few, every single year. And that was up until he had the past 2 seasons where he missed 27 games in the 22-23 season. And then you had this year where he missed 36 games. And that's going to be held against him. And I know people are going to hold that against him. As long as he shows up in the playoffs, there shouldn't be any problems. As long as he does what he's supposed to do. By the way, the Four Nations face-off, that's going to be happening soon. When that happens in February, Shea Theodore on Team Canada. Pretty confident that's going to happen with Shea Theodore. But overall, this contract is solid for Vegas. Don't find many complaints with Shea Theodore on this contract. And what I believe is going to be done, Shea Theodore, by the time this contract is up, he will either be exactly at 1,000 games or he will be just at 990 when he completes his contract. And the fact that he only played around 25 games at Anaheim, that means that he will play 900 games with the Vegas Golden Knights by the time that this contract is up. Wow. Absolutely incredible when it comes to Shea Theodore. I also have to admire the fact that Shea Theodore has played in 10 seasons of hockey. Okay? He made his debut in 2015. So understanding that he made his debut, this is year 10 of him being an NHLer. And going from being a first-round pick by Anaheim, being developed in their system, getting traded to Vegas when he was 22 years old, and they only did that to protect Josh Manson, which, not going to complain about Josh Manson, by the way. Yeah, he's doing some good stuff right now with the Colorado Avalanche organization. Not going to say anything about that. But looking back on it, Vegas Golden Knights made the right move. And happy to see what he's done here. Won a Stanley Cup here in Vegas. And to wrap all this up, very happy for Shea Theodore. Him earning this contract extension, he definitely earned it. And I am looking forward to seeing what he does the next 7 seasons with the Vegas Golden Knights. So this is Vegas Hockey Hub. I'm your host, Ian Rachiele. And until next time, go Knights, go.
PR Connections Radio thanks you for watching this podcast. Check out more episodes of this show and our others at prconnectionsradio.com.